What's there to say about Pac-Man on the 2600? Probably very little that hasn't already been said, except for these things. Pac-Man is by far one of the most successful campaigns for any video game in history. It was so successfully marketed that they essentially sold one copy of Pac-Man for every Atari in existence. It was amazing how just lockstep it was. You go over to some other kid's house, they have an Atari, and they have a copy of Pac-Man. You go over to this other kid's house, they have an Atari, they have a copy of Pac-Man. It was rote. They couldn't have sold more copies of Pac-Man if they had packed it in with the original Atari 2600 when it first shipped. Okay? That's how successful this campaign was. This game does have serious problems. Despite the fact that everyone bought it, it seems to be universally hated, and everyone seems to have buyer's remorse. And this was always very confusing and upsetting to me as a child because I didn't go out to many bars. So I first played Pac-Man on a friend's 2600, not in the arcade. Okay? So, I mean, naturally when I get to the arcade, yeah, this seems better, it seems faster. Also seemed a lot harder because they were trying to take my quarters. So yeah, I did acknowledge that there's a difference, but it wasn't until much later in life that I truly managed to understand the magnitude of this game and its flaws. Okay? And people blame a certain game that begins with the letter E for the collapse of video games in the 1980s, but there is an equal case to be made that it was because of Pac-Man and its huge disappointment that people just started to give up. And yeah, in that famous landfill that supposedly has all the E.T. cartridges, it probably has just as many cartridges of Pac-Man because they printed more games of Pac-Man than they had ever made 2600 machines that could play them. So that was a bit of a short-sighted business decision there. I have a feeling it was made on weed, given the way the company was set up. But yeah, that is my thoughts on Pac-Man.
Oh, hey, while I got you here, can you subscribe to the channel? It would really make a difference. Thanks a lot.
No, they're not. My thoughts on Pac-Man is it didn't have to be this way because there are a lot of Pac-Man clones on the 2600 that are just fine. They work great, like Mousetrap and Ladybug. And to put a fine point on it, they did eventually release Mrs. Pac-Man on 2600, and that was perfectly fine. It was a great port. So it seems tragic that this had to happen. But there is a way to fix the game. You can go to the game select screen, and you'd think there'd be only one game of Pac-Man, but no. The relative speeds of Pac-Man and the Ghost Monsters change with every different version. Okay? So, if the game is sluggish, unresponsive, and not fun, what you can do is instead of playing games 1, 2, and 3, immediately start playing games, I think, 3 to 7. Okay? In those games, Pac-Man is in children's mode, and he moves twice as fast. It no longer feels like you're moving through mud. I think if you try doing that it makes the Pac-Man on 2600 a lot more fun. Even if you start there and then move back to game 1 as the hard mode, just having that perspective makes the whole experience a lot more fun. Okay, well, thank you again. You guys have a great day, and until next time, a little play goes a long way.